Good morning and good evening because we are connected with Wendy Daniels in Australia, and I believe it's 9 p.m. there and it's 8 a.m. here, and it's raining in Nova Scotia. I want to welcome Wendy Daniels to the podcast. She was suggested by Rosemary, and we thank her for connecting us. Welcome, Wendy,
Yeah,
to the
thank you,
podcast.
Rosemary. Yes, right. Hi there. Hello, Tony, and viewers. That's great. Yes, I don't know where to start really, but
You do
I
have a story about being unvaccinated and
I
giving.
certainly do. I certainly do. In fact, I will lead in with that. I've been what I like to call vaccine educated. I'm Wendy Daniel, by the way. There's no S. I've been what you might call vaccine educated for a long time now, and I did my first book, Vaccines, Myths and Facts, 10 years ago, and this is now its fourth edition, and it is the simplest book of its kind. All my books have big text and lots of pictures, and that's really just that sort of sells pretty regularly, and it's just sort of ongoing. It's available on Amazon. And then in the immediate post-COVID era, I did a book called Detox After COVID and Thrive, which I did with the help of 3 Australian naturopaths and a homeopath. And that was that they were really doing great work getting people over the initial onslaught that we had. We're really getting people back on their feet again. And I don't know if people are aware of the McCullough protocol, but that came out halfway through this, so that went in there as well. But then the story is actually 2 years ago, and I'll run through it fairly quickly. 2 years ago, I happened to do a live blood analysis, as in I had it done to me. And I'd heard of this, or it was presented very powerfully to me 20 years ago now by Tony Robbins. He raved about live blood analysis, which is a sort of snapshot of your blood under the the microscope, and it's sort of, you can see it swirling around, and the red blood cells sort of moving around in there until it dries, sort of thing. And it was presented to me as an amazing diagnostic tool, and I had it done a few times back then, so I knew what normal blood looked like. And I'll go through the story here, and the scale's a little bit different, but that's what, in case people haven't seen it, that's what normal blood is supposed to look like. It's fairly low scale, that. But in the, then I had it done 2 years ago, and I hadn't had a vaccine in, I don't know, probably 18 years, I think, since I started.
So you never had the COVID vaccine?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You don't write books called Vaccines, Myths and Facts telling people all about
Good
how
point,
dreadful
good
they
point,
are.
but just want to make sure.
Yeah, oh, absolutely, absolutely. And I first became aware, really aware, 16 years ago. So I hadn't had anything done since then. So I'm as clean as it gets, basically, in that regard. Anyway, 2 years ago, I saw somebody who, and it's become rarer, this live blood analysis, dark field microscopy, and I had this done, and instead of looking like this, as my blood had before, every time, it looked pretty much like that. And I was absolutely horrified. That was the big shock for me at that time. And all these things sort of, there's another one there. All these thoughts run through your head, and I don't know if people are aware of John O'Looney and Richard Hirschman,
And
who've been
John
doing
Aloni's been on
lots.
our podcast, so is
Oh,
Richard Hirschman.
brilliant. Oh, brilliant. Yes, yes.
And Greg Harrison.
And yes. I know Greg. Yes, that's well. He's very, very much part of the story. He's doesn't live all that far from me actually. And anyway, but I came to that. You know that these things have to be related in some way. I don't know exactly why. Anyway, these days, far from being normal, most blood looks more like this. And these are experienced microscopists, and that obviously this is the you know some of the worst aspects of it, but that's my blood there, and so that was it really, and I was really it was a huge shock at that time, and I went through and started taking, actually I was in shock for a few days after that, and in fact my story is that somebody I knew some people who were very knowledgeable about a range of products that they sell, and somebody said methylene blue. So in the absence of any other knowledge, because in the absence of any other knowledge, that's exactly what I did. I took that. That was the first thing I did, because the thing, this is a personal journey, and I'm trying to steer a path in this between scaring everyone to death and lulling everybody into a false sense of security, because the fact is that this is my blood and my story, but I believe that probably 90% of us are affected by this, unfortunately, and this is not only the vaccinated and the unvaccinated like myself, it's babies and animals and roadkill and cattle and possums and things like this. Sometimes they, you know, somebody hits an animal and they go and check the blood, and
So
it's
you
full of the same
would
stuff.
would you say it's shedding?
I believe, and I have no way of knowing this, I think that that's part of it, but I think that it's also something to do with what they're spraying on us, the chemtrails. These are
The
so
chemtrails.
ubiquitous, and I believe that. And in fact, there's a quote from a naturopath and traditional naturopath microscopist from Canada, actually. I think he's in the center of Canada somewhere. And he says, I believe sorry. Our blood changed when the vaccines rolled out. Everything changed. It was a whole new world. It happened with the vaccinated first, then 3 or 4 months later, the blood of the unvaccinated changed as well. And that's Tobias Beharrell, who
The
knows.
only question I got about this shedding and
Yeah,
chemtrails and all this, I
yeah.
don't see our politicians getting sick or getting blood
Um,
clots that I know of. That
well, yes. The thing is that you wouldn't know. That's the thing, because also I want to say to people in the midst of all this that I have always felt well. And in fact, I went back to the gym, so I feel better now than I did 2 years ago. And I don't believe that humans are. I don't think that anything. Well, no, I won't say anything, but I don't believe that humans are going to be immune to this. And we certainly have seen some people getting sick, but the thing is that we don't know. Just because you feel fine doesn't mean to say that there isn't stuff going on underneath the surface, you know, inside. Because the other thing is that we have been discouraged from looking at our blood as well. in a number of different ways. As in, the first one was that they destroyed Royal Raymond Rife. He was getting, with his main invention was the universal microscope, which was phenomenally powerful as an optical microscope, where he was able to actually look at the living blood. And then, you know, he got rid of that after celebrating him, and doctors are discouraged from having microscopes in their clinics. And now what's the other one? Oh yes, and the live blood analysis. I was shocked when I came to it again after all those years. I sort of thought, oh well, everybody had had, you know, it'd be all over the place. And now it was just that I hadn't seen it before, because I don't go to the doctor. But no, it's quite rare, and it's sort of become rather sort of viewed with suspicion. So the other thing, and I'm going to get to the main sort of part of this, the other thing that I've got in the book is that it's a huge book, it really is, and there's lots in it, because it is rescuing ourselves from chemtrails, spots and cancers. So that's the book that I'm about my journey. Yes.
Are you still
Sorry.
taking methylene blue?
Sorry?
Are you still taking that methylene blue?
Not at the moment, but I may do. I may go back to it. In fact, somebody else needed
Did it help you? Did it
Sorry?
help you? Did it help you,
I
Wendy?
believe that it did. I believe that it did. Yes, yes. I don't want to say too much about it, because in the book there's in fact there's all sorts of I won't call them protocols, but there's ideas that people can do safely for themselves if they have to. Because the thing is that we are on our own here, because the number of, unfortunately, the doctors and the scientists and the universities who should be paying attention to this are not. They're not interested. As Richard Hirschman and John O'Looney have been talking about this for 4 years now, and they're still, you know, still nobody's paying attention to it. Only
it's called money, and it's depopulized. They're depopulating the world. They want to kill us off, Wendy.
Well, I do mention that in the book, not overly, because it's a book about helping yourself, rescuing ourselves, but it's hard to deny that.
I interview a lot of vaccine interest, Wendy, and they would be really interested.
Well, I write to help people, and the first book on vaccines was the warning, as in, you know, don't do this. And then the next one was, oh heck, now what? And that's really, well, you know, you're on your own, you know. I felt as if I was sort of, there was so little information when I first started out. I felt as if I was hacking a path through you know, through open bushland sort of thing, trying to find answers. And one of the answers, actually, because there's so little help, Tobias Beharrell would be one of them, actually, but he's you know, in Canada. But I talk about muscle testing, which is, you know, using your body, because your body knows, and muscle testing is a switch to your intuition, and it's very easy, and people who are sort of interested in this sort of information would be able to do that. Yes, that's testing. That's testing positive, and it's very simple to do. Anybody can do it. Well, anybody on this program, and there's also, I talk about kinesiology that takes muscle testing to a whole new level, and also a psychic reader, an authentic and real psychic reader is a great thing, because we are on our own. There is nobody else out there looking at this. Your doctor isn't going to know. You
Well,
might be
that's
fortunate.
the thing. Yeah. Like where you had your blood tested, where would we ever get our blood tested around here
That's
that you could trust anybody?
yeah. Um, Look, I think if somebody's doing live blood analysis, well, I don't know. Well, you muscle test it. You muscle test to see if this person is genuine and real. But yes, but this dark field microscopy, which is one of the best diagnostic tools for knowing what's going on in your blood, is incredibly rare. Anyway, so I'll talk about that. That's in the book as well. And then uh, I wouldn't have dreamed of writing a book like this, of course, unless I had answers, because it's no use just frightening people. You have to give them something to go at. And one of the main things is that I realized in this whole journey is that one of the best things you can do is to raise your general health. The sort of health that people talk about generally, and the good water and all that sort of thing, as high as you can, and that will make you more resilient to whatever they throw at us, which is a lot, as we know. And the book goes into so I talk about like the background things, the beer and water and all, those things, and the EMFs. We have to be a bit, careful of that. But then on the specifics, somebody had some wonderful suggestions for babies that are very safe and gentle and everything to help them. I don't think we can clear this completely. I think it's just a case of keeping it under control for now. Maybe in the future we'll be able to clear it completely, but uh, it's an unknown. There's so much we don't know. We do know a few things, and Greg Harrison knows more than
Oh,
most.
he is well above my head. He
Yes,
has to give it,
yes,
he has to give it, what do they call it, layman terms for a lot of us because he is, Greg Harrison is well educated. That guy, he knows what he's doing, what he's
he
talking about.
does. He really does. Yes, no, he's sort of sort of cling on to by our fingernails. And in fact, Tom Haviland is a really it's a great team there that are really working
Tom's been
hard.
on our show several times.
Tom, yes, yes, he's fantastic. Yeah, really good. Yeah, no, I sent Greg a book. Maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, and met him. And in fact, the I'll oh well I'll come to the clock later. But they've sent off Greg. I met Greg, and we transferred a part of my clot that I have to him, and it's gone off to Europe to be analysed. So they're going to see what's in there. They were quite interested in that because it's new. It was taken last year. Actually, I'd better get on with and onto that, hadn't I? I'll tell you about my New Zealand story. Part along this way, I've actually done four different uh, protocols, if you like, or two of them are sort of supplements and things. One was the methylene blue, and I talk about that in detail. I talk about in detail what
Can I
I do.
interrupt you a second? I heard about that
Yes.
methylene blue on Stu Peters was talking about it.
Ah, yes. Yes.
He was talking about methylene blue, and I didn't know whether that would be something the person should even consider. I'm not saying I don't know
Oh no,
nothing about it, so that's why I
it's
was bringing it up.
very it's very controversial, but really because of that. And I had no option at first. And it was said to me so clearly and so simply, like methylene blue, like, oh,
Well, Wendy,
okay, right.
how do we know they're not putting mRNA in that?
Or the
The,
short
the,
answer is we don't. The short answer is we don't.
the
And
globalists,
but the other answer is you learn to muscle test and you check it for yourself. This is good for me today. Yes. This is as in yes. And I do that with all supplements all the time. And often, for whatever reason, I might buy a supplement, and I don't think that it's the shortcoming of the supplement, because you do have to be careful. You do have to look for some of the best brands, or the most honest brands in whatever you're buying, which my friends were, who actually make up the methylene blue themselves. But
so you can
sometimes
make it.
that, sorry?
So you
It,
can,
well, it's not something that you make from scratch. I don't really want to go into that too much. I mean, you do need pharmaceutical grade, but really don't want to get into the nitty gritty of that, because it's the whole thing
over
of
my head, right, Wendy? Over
no,
my
no,
head.
no, 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 no. It's not over. No, it's not over your head. There's just a lot. Um,
A lot to it.
there are pros and cons and things to be aware of, and I don't want to sort of say to your listeners, oh, you just do this, because that might not be right for you. That is probably one of the simplest things to do. But then, there are 15 things that you can try that I put in the book, and that's just one of the ones that I did. But there's a lot. I've also got 50 pages of links and references. So I've got loads, because that was the first thing I did. I've got loads of people talking about methylene blue, and really, and because it's so blue, I think that's what puts people off, because it's so blue. Some people not are very suspicious of it, and the naturopaths are suspicious of it, because it's not particularly natural. But
Where does it come from, Wendy?
oh, now I have known this. This is the big book, and I wrote some of it nearly like 18 months ago. It might be, it's not a natural thing, so it is a pharmaceutical, but it's one of the first pharmaceuticals. That's all I can say. I can't remember the rest. No, I'd have to read the book. I'd have to look it up.
Oh,
Um,
I get it. It's so much stuff coming at you in all
This,
directions.
yes, 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 and see, I mean, a lot of this stuff, I've been doing this for 16 years. I may have focused really hard on something like 18 months ago, and then life goes on, and I go on to another thing, and if I'd known you were going to ask that, I would have looked it up. But no,
No,
I
don't. No, no worries. No worries, Wendy.
So anyway, I did that one, and then I did a thing called EDTA and the toxin binder and everything. And a friend mentioned Neprinol. Now, I haven't seen that on. So the EDTA seemed to work quite well when I had my blood checked again. And I was driving 7 hours each way to have live blood analysis with the same person every time, the same skilled operator, naturopath. And so Neprinol, I think, is probably beneficial, but I haven't seen the results of that with live blood analysis. So I don't know. I just think that
Is it
might
a
be.
pill?
Yes, yes, yes. I don't really know very much. I think that's partly nattokinase and serapeptase, I think. But again, I'm very vague on that, and I haven't taken it. It's just that it's something. So it's one of the 15 things here. And anyway, after that, I heard. I've been on David Nixon's Zoom group. I don't know if you've heard of David Nixon, but he's done a lot of dark field microscopy. He's one of our hero doctors, really, who was giving exemptions to people instead of vaccines, and of course they stripped him of his license, as they do. But anyway, somebody on that Zoom call. So I've been in contact with people doing microscopy, and I've heard them talking about how it goes, because I have no medical background, by the way, not a smidgen of medical background. I ought to have said that first. Anyway, I heard this person talking about green lasers in New Zealand, in Auckland. And this guy was saying, oh, you know, the queues of people coming in the door and all of this sort of thing. Anyway, and I said, oh, if I, because I was writing the book by this time, if I come and see you, will you give me some time and sort of explain what you're doing? And anyway, I found myself, when I was going there, I thought, oh, gee, I hope this isn't a wild goose chase. Anyway, I found myself in this amazing clinic in New Zealand, the Helix Clinic Institute it's called, and this is the green laser treatment. And that what happened was that they took a test tube, a vial of blood to start with, and we looked at my blood looked not very good again. Something had happened to it again, anyway, it's an intravenous green laser where the light is so bright that you could see it shining through my arm. And I had that, didn't hurt or anything. That was through a cannula thing. And then they took some blood afterwards, same amount from a vial. The first one, when he turned it upside down, there was a plug in here. You can see that it's upside down. And then that's the after blood that was flowing freely. So something had happened to it again, because at various times it had looked really, really good. Anyway, that and then they waited for a while for the natural process of the blood to sort of even out and everything, and later on he pulled out the clot and gave me the clot, and there it is. In fact, that's 2/3 of it, because Greg Harrison sent another bit off. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that?
I can see that.
Yeah.
It's sort of round and flat.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know what to
I want to share something with you. I want your comments on it. There's a new treatment out. It's in Japan.
Oh, I've heard about that.
They clean your blood out. I had a gentleman on by the name of Ken Evans.
All right, I haven't heard of that.
There's a bunch
I don't think.
There's a bunch of vaccine injured going to Japan. This is the treatment place. This is the hospital here.
Oh, yes. That's Kevin McCann, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Kevin
Yes.
McCann.
And
I guess it's helping out some vaccine injured. I only had Kevin on. I was hoping to get some other ones that were vaccine injured to come on, because my idea is to help people like you are. And I just brought this up, just wondered what you think of the treatments in Japan. Is that another option in your view?
I haven't included that. I won't say anything else about that, because I don't know anything else. Well, I know a little bit about it, a very tiny amount. I won't say anything else about it. But what I will say very clearly is that there is a clinic in in England, just not far from London, called Evolving Solutions. I think I'm right in saying that. I want to get that right. Evolving Solutions. And she is doing something called EBOO. That's it, Evolving Solutions. I want to put that in there. And the lady who runs that, Dr. Whose name I won't mention, but I will mention that one very much. She also has clinics in I think it's Palma and Cyprus, and what they do is called EBOO, where it's a little bit like dialysis, where you're working from the arm, or you take the blood out of one limb and you feed it through. And they also do that at the Helix Institute as well. And then they clean it and oxygenate it and feed it back into the other into another limb. And I personally like the idea of that and her approach, if you like. Yeah. So
You never had that. You never had that.
no, I didn't have that done. And in fact, the green laser treatment worked, appeared to work fantastically anyway. But however, if I was suffering, actually, I do want to say this to people, if I was suffering, especially in the leg area, and felt that there were clots or something, felt that something wasn't right in that area, I would be going to a clinic like that. I wouldn't be messing about. And you probably may need a couple of sessions, I believe.
Do you mean the clinic in Japan or this other clinic you're mentioning?
Personally, I would, well, but not, New Zealand being the closest, I would go for that. It would be the EBOO treatment. So, however, and I came across, I wanted to know more about the green laser, and I came across another one, completely different technology. And this one, it's not quite as rapid, but this one actually fits in your pocket. And that is an amazing piece of technology. That is the LFET laser, and again, still green but very different. And well, when I muscle tested, I was supposed to stay. This was how I was told to do it, and also muscle tested that was the way I did it. And when I did that, I believe that this is very effective. And I have to say believe because, it's, I have to drive 7 hours to get my blood tested. But nevertheless, when I've had it tested once since I started that. When I started off, I needed 23 minutes. As I muscle tested, I needed 23 minutes morning, 23 minutes afternoon, which is a lot. And then as I went on, day by day, it got less and less and less, and I muscle tested that the quality of my blood got better and better. So that, I think, is worth a try.
How does that green light make your muscles better? The laser, there's a laser?
No, it's not the muscle. I'm talking about muscle testing there. But it's not, but it works on the blood in some way. And look, I don't understand what it does. There's so many more questions than answers here. Even the people who know things,
No wonder people don't know what to think, Wendy. There's so many things. I say no wonder people don't know what to think. There's so many things out there.
This is why it's so important that we do learn to be our own guides. It's so important because what might work for me, it may not work for somebody else.
100%.
What I've tried to do is to give people a range of things that they might try. I can't, um, you know, that's the best I can do. As somebody pointed out, oh, you're just a guinea pig. And that's true. I'm just a relatively educated guinea pig
Well, weren't the
who
majority of the
felt
people worldwide guinea pigs when they took this experimental vaccine and they never
absolutely they
even
were.
looked into it? They call
Yeah.
people conspiracy theorists. They wouldn't think with their own brain to decide for themselves, Wendy. That's what's
Yeah.
wrong.
Yes. Yeah. But you know, we were lucky in a way that we'd been, or I had been awake all this time. So, there was, and I didn't have my arm twisted up my back with somebody saying, oh, well, you lose your job and your
I'll tell you a true
livelihood.
story about me. When this
Yeah.
first come out, we washed everything down. I was fearful. Even if
Yes.
I was working, I'd wash
We
everything.
didn't know we didn't know what it was. Nobody knew what it was. And I can
And you know
remember
what
wiping the
happened, Wendy?
counters down. Yeah.
Nobody talked me out of it. I walked around here one day and oh my God, this is all bullshit. All of it. Every bit of it. Do you know what? There was no Wendy. Nobody talked me out of it. I just went from A to B and I was awake. And then I knew it was a spiritual war. And then I knew why I was doing podcasts because I'm supposed to be doing that.
Yeah.
And I've met a lot of people, but I do know there's good and evil because there's no way, like nobody talked me out of being scared
Yes.
not to. And this mask business, Wendy, totally turned me off because I couldn't stand it. And God, I never ever had a flu shot and this
No.
COVID shot. Part of me was maybe just 1% thinking, and I thought, no, I'm not taking that crap.
No. See,
And when I woke up, Wendy, then I knew this was serious. Like I have to be, like I don't get the views like Joe Rogan and all these guys get. In the wintertime, I get a lot better views. A lot of people are doing things, but people, Wendy, need to listen and share all these podcasts. A lot of good
yes.
get people need to listen to people.
Yes.
And they
Yes.
need to not to judge them as being conspiracy theorists because the TV told them so. They should be deciding for themselves.
Yes. Yes. Oh, absolutely. That's why I included the muscle testing in this. I've been muscle testing for 10 years now. In fact, a lot of this book I realized goes back a long time. I've been going to a psychic reader for 10 years and it's knowing who you are and what's right for you, testing every supplement. I've got supplements in here. I like what's it called? Oh, I can't remember what it's called now. I've got 25 websites in here. For global healing, that's what it's called. With the 25 websites, so it's a range of things that people can do. I think his supplements are really fantastic, but when you get them, your body might not need them. You're only going to know that when you actually test it. And I think that is as good as I can say to anybody to test it, as in, um, you know, when you say the sentence as a statement, simple sentence, and test in whatever way you choose. Could be a pendulum. Some people like a pendulum. Some people read cards. That's the same as well. I don't know, some people might not like that idea, but nevertheless, that's can be incredibly accurate as well. But it is a spiritual war. Richard Hirschman would agree with that, and as I've heard him saying that. And I too feel very guided and instructed, if you like, to do what I do, because I don't really do this for fun. I do it because, although it can be fun sometimes, as much fun as you can have talking about genocide.
Yeah, because the world's in trouble. People are dying. People are sick. The access deaths are up. There's a
Yes, oh,
global
absolutely.
takeover with surveillance cameras, with digital IDs, while we're all dealing with the vaccine injured and trying to help them. And it's a distraction why we're doing
Yeah.
this.
Now,
That's why they're not censoring like they were.
um,
I don't find they're
well,
censoring on Facebook like they were with the vaccines and stuff because we're helping them. We're helping
well,
them bring in the digital IDs and the surveillance cameras by focusing on what we're talking about. And I'm not saying it's not important because it is important, but that's how they're thinking about it. They're creating these distractions while they bring in the New World Order to enslave us.
well,
And
I
whether we're here to enjoy it or not, Wendy, I don't know, but hopefully this podcast with all these suggestions might help somebody that's injured and
I
really
hope
suffering.
so. That's the plan. So I'll just go over it again because I have a more optimistic outlook. Let's say I hold the faith that we will get through this and that there are better times ahead. I hold the faith of that. And that's what I do. And in here, there's 50 pages of a new sort of new words that we might come across on this journey that we're taking, all of us. There's around 15 strategies to keep the new contamination under control. 25 websites. When I counted them, I did think, oh wow, that is a
You did a
lot.
lot of research in these books.
Well,
Yeah, it's
I
obviously you
keep it
did.
simple. Yes, yes, I keep it simple, and then of course I had to write about this as well in the post-COVID era, and William Mackis and everything, who's had some amazing results with, you know, I don't know how
Fendizimol
sensitive
and
you are.
I don't know if I'm
Sorry.
pronouncing right. Fendizimol and ivermectin with
Oh,
cancer.
it's like ivermectin and mebendazole. Yes, I don't, that might get us, chucked out of wherever we are on
Not
the
on not on
clocks.
Rumble, but
All right. Oh, that's good. That's good. Yes, he really is getting phenomenal results. So I've been posting a whole list on Facebook of alternative cancer treatments, but I'm really pretty good on starter points. So say you want a good supplement, or you want to at least there are precious few EBU people around, but it's places to go. These are starter points. One for ordinary people so that they've got something that they can do if they find themselves alone in this whole thing. There's
what about
something that they
garlic?
can find
I'm going to
out.
throw this out there, Wendy. What about garlic?
Well, I'm no expert. Look, I think garlic's great, and that would come into the area of general health. So I'm sure it's very good. I can't remember exactly
But
why, but
I'm
or,
just
or,
wondering with the blood clots and the gristles and stuff, if that would have any effect on it. Has anybody ever tested it or
oh
tried?
no, nobody's tested. You've spoken to most of the people doing most of the work in this area, like the Greg Harrisons and the Tom Havilands and the David Nixon. Nobody's looking at this. So I think that all of these things, like generally all the herbs and the spices and the turmeric and the all of those things and the chili and all sorts of stuff. If it's spicy and highly coloured, that the more nutrients and goodness it has for us, basically in that food sense, in the general food sense. And I think also, well, one of the main things that you can do is eat organic and local as much as you can, as much as you can avoid of what they're spraying on us. But you know, there are plenty of other people who know way more about that than I do. I just sort of eat as much as possible, I suppose, you know, if you eat like your great grandparents did, then you probably won't go far wrong most of the time.
We don't
And,
really stand a chance. It's in our food. It's in our water. They spray our forest with
well, I,
glyphosate, and then the woods can burn easy, but we don't have to worry about that today.
one of the most important things that we have, Tony, is actual faith. That if you know, if we believe that we're stuffed, then the chances are that we're going to be. But I really wanted to end with Alex Collier. Do you know Alex? Have you heard of Alex Collier? Do you know
No, I
his?
haven't.
Oh, right. He has a very, very interesting perspective. He is Andromedan contactee, and he has been speaking out for decades and decades now. And you can see him from way back from the 80s even, I think, speaking, maybe the 90s. Anyway, and he said, for some reason, I really wanted this one, and he says, the people as a whole have more common sense than all the governments in the world. We always figure it out. And that is what we're going to do this time.
That's a true statement right there.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
He's actually been on ships, and when he speaks, it's always like the same, you know, it sounds woo-woo. Well, although a lot, you know, things used to sound woo-woo don't anymore, but I just wanted that bit, and that's the thing. And I believe that we have to hold the faith because, like, you know, if you tell a, I don't know why this is coming up all of a sudden. Like, you know, I'd never been to a boxing match in my life, but if you tell I have boxed in the gym, but if you tell a boxer that he's, you know, he's no good and he's had it, you know, he doesn't stand a chance, then if he believes that when he's going in, then there's no way he's going to make it. You know,
Just like a hockey game. If you've got players going
well,
there, oh,
anybody,
there's no way we're going to win.
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
it's a good point.
that's not what they say, and we have to hold the faith. We have to hold the faith. We have to be very careful, I believe, about what we say and how we say it. And I really hold to that. And yeah, so I'm pretty big on that. So anyway, that's what I have. That's my story. It was a shock, really, getting, you know, seeing the state of the blood.
So
It's
you didn't get the
interesting.
results back, right?
Oh well, so Greg only sent this off last week. We met because I sent him a book. The book only came out this month actually, and I sent him the book. He contacted me straight away because I didn't realise that he even lived in Australia, and we met up, you know, just over a week ago. So it's gone off to the other side of the world, and it'll be analysed in I don't know, maybe another month. I don't know. Be interesting. It'd be quite interesting to see, and you know, I think that we will find ways. You know, I've suggested a few. I think that other ways will come up of how to do this. I think possibly cycling a couple of ways might be a good idea.
What about jogging?
About
Jogging?
jogging,
Jogging.
jogging.
Yes.
Um, oh, look, if that turns you on, then you know, I
I
think
went
it's
now
quite.
9 kilometers the other day, so
Did you? Oh, right.
yeah.
Oh, well done. Yes.
It feels good, Wendy, for your head and stuff with so much stuff going on. And it helps a little positivity too.
Yes, yes, yes. That's it. I think what you know, whatever you do, if I think the main thing is that you carry on with something, moving around. I have to book into the gym to a, to
That's
a.
another good thing. Well,
Oh,
ex,
absolutely,
ex,
absolutely.
whatever people like some take Tai Hu and different thing exercises and
Yes,
well, between my jogging and doing podcasts, Wendy, and we got a family member in the nursing home. We go see her, and
yes,
I got my Facebook group with over 6,000. Like I can't keep up with it. It's just
yes. That's great. That's really good. Yeah.
so I keep pretty busy, and I have amazing guests like yourself on. It's getting late in Australia now. It must be getting
Oh
here
yes,
like
it's near.
10.
Yes, it's getting towards 10 o'clock. Well, I hope I haven't bored everyone. I will tell you that you can get the book on. I'm pretty sure you can get it in physical form. It's expensive on Amazon, but it's even more expensive, I think, to mail it out from Australia. But it's on Kindle, Amazon Kindle. That would be the cheapest way to get it in Canada. And if anybody happens to be in Australia, it's www.inhousebookstore.com, inhousebookstore.com. And my all the references are on www.lightoftruths.net. That's 50 pages of them, should be there. And all the books are on Amazon Kindle. I'm
Well,
not as good at marketing.
if you send me all these links, Wendy, I'll put them in the description
Oh,
of the
righto.
podcast.
Yes, 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 absolutely. Yes,
So,
yes.
the,
Um, so it's been a real journey. I've learned a lot. The other reason I did the book, was not only for the ordinary people, but to say to anybody who might be looking, if there's somebody out there who has maybe some sort of a science or a medical background, who feels that they might do something for this, whether it's, acquiring a dark field microscope or doing that, I think that's probably going to be quite important. Or looking at what Greg Harrison's doing in the as an organic chemist or publicizing this, because unfortunately it has to gain momentum. And because the fact is that we don't know what the future holds with this. That's the reality of it. So I don't. It's my plan to empower people so that they can go forward with their own
well,
decisions.
Wendy,
So,
we do have a new party in Canada that would like to take Canada back, called the National Constitutional Reform Party. His name is Gordon
yeah,
Gary, and there are several different things going on, and
yeah,
they want to have a new constitution and politicians be held accountable, which none of them ever were. I don't think
no,
anything was ever really set up for the people because they can waste money, they can do whatever they want.
that's what
And
they
that's
seem to be
a little
doing.
movement here in Canada. And there's the independents fighting within in the structure. There's court cases with that, Peter McIsaac, and there's Martin Broadman with another movement, and there's Ken Drysdale out west with Manitoba Stronger, something like that. There's so many groups. There are
Yeah,
groups and groups of people out there trying to help Canada, and I know as well as Australia, like we're both probably the same situation. We are in trouble. We're
yeah,
overloaded with immigrants. We're
yeah,
overloaded, and you look around, you think, gee, am I in Canada? And it's not to be racist. There are a lot of nice immigrants. I'm perfectly want to
yes,
make that clear, but not when they're outnumbering your own people. That's
No, no.
not
Oh,
when,
don't
not
start me
when,
on that.
not
And
when
of course, I'm an
Wendy,
immigrant as well.
not when
But
people getting old age pension, government pensions are getting less than somebody that they bringing over here with our tax dollars. Like
yep,
there's so many issues, and one of the biggest issues is today you helping somebody that's sick, vaccine injured, and there's so many things going on at the same time.
yes,
And it's easier, I think, for people to just, oh, I'm going to watch soccer, or I'm going to watch baseball, or I'm going to watch boxing, or I'm going to go to a concert. But they really need Wendy to take at least a couple hours a week to listen to people because the world's in trouble. It's their future. It's our
yes.
future. It's our future. People need to listen to each other and not
I,
not to be mad. Like say you don't agree with everything I tell you, Wendy. That doesn't mean I'm never going to have you on again. I'm not going to talk to you. We're allowed to agree and disagree. That's what's the beautiful part of being
absolutely,
human. We're not all the
absolutely,
same, like you said, even with
absolutely.
treatments.
Yeah,
That's where
yes,
I'm at.
yes. Um, so anyway, I've tried to present what I can as as somebody who's tried a few things and has learned some things along the way from people who know a lot more than I do. But we are feeling our way with this, and and if I mean if the people who, in these universities and things got on board, then, which I hope that some of them will do, that's the other thing, to give people like that somewhere to start, somebody with a science background with some time on their hands, to give them somewhere to start and maybe pick up some of the research that needs to be done to find the answers for this. So that's where I am anyway.
Wendy, our hours, I usually run
Yes.
an hour, and if our guest wants to talk
Yep.
longer, I do let them talk longer. I don't say, see you later, alligator. But if you'd like to talk longer, I'll let you. And
Oh,
if
I'll do it. I'll do a promo for this one actually. It's on Amazon as well, and the books are. I haven't got this one on pay in paperback in Canada unless you order it from Australia. But that is a great one to hand across to somebody who is expecting or something
but
like
you
that.
know, people are going to label you a conspiracy theorist
Oh
without
well.
even looking at it. You're judged. That's what's wrong with people. I got people in my family like that, Wendy. Like, come on, you haven't even watched a guest. You're just listening. That the
Yeah.
media's did some damage on people, I can tell you. And
Oh,
I'm wondering if these COVID vaccines somehow affect your mind that stops you from thinking. Because I've heard people talk about that, and I often wonder because it's just like you're talking to a wall. You can't get through to some people. They
yeah.
are, and then I think there are some people got acetylene, didn't get the real thing. So if they had 6 or 7 needles, they're going to say it works anyway.
I do think that oh well I mean it was known that the batches varied wildly. I really when I asked the naturopaths when I did the first book, I said, do people want to know the politics? And I mean it's just flooding out all the things that happened in the COVID era, and it's too much. And the naturopaths actually told me, no, people just want to know how to get better. So that's what they shared with me. They shared some. I think I've got 10 case histories in here,
So the
and
detox, the detox, is that from the jab or from COVID or from both?
um, Mostly, I suppose, the jab, but I was told by the psychic actually that if I put that in the title, that it would put people off to start with. So it's both, because we don't, we do know that that people were affected by those around them. You know, the massage therapists and people like that were feeling something, shedding, and all sorts of weird things were happening to people. There's so much we don't know, but
I'm just
those were
one.
really good in the early, well, even now, really, for
I'm
people.
just wondering if the government isn't taking methylene blue, or they're taking something, because I never see them sick or dying, unless it's an old, really old age. Like they
Yes,
seem safe, and
yeah.
they know
Yes.
what to do about
I
it.
don't suppose that many of the government got a real one. I'm sure they, but anyway, that's
They
just
that
speculation.
that too, they might have not got the real one, but if they're shedding, they're still okay. So there must be taking something for that. Just my thought. Anyway, I kept you on too late, and I know it's getting late in Australia, and I want you to know I really appreciate it. I
Thank
got
you.
the
Thank you.
the thing with an interview with Australia, we're 13 hours different, so you
Yes,
got to either
yes,
stay up late or get up early.
that's right. That's right.
And I
Yes.
want to thank you, Wendy,
Thank
for
you.
all
Thank
your
you.
information, and I really hope people take the time to watch this, to share this,
Yes,
to comment on our Rumble, on our Facebook, on my X account. Please,
yes.
please leave some comments. We'd like to know what you think.
I hope that it's been helpful for some people, and given them somewhere to go, because it's very easy just to throw something out. You know, I talk about nicotine, and there's all sorts of things that people say, oh, you've got, try this and try that. And I've tried to steer away from that, and sort of narrow it down a bit to say, well, this is what it may do, but there are, it's always a bit more complex to, I don't want, I've tried to keep people safe in what they're taking, and keep their expectations um, uh, reasonable.
But
So,
you know
but give them
something?
something.
That's hard to do. We're all different. That's really hard. And
Muscle testing, the body knows.
it's
The
hard to
body
draw
knows.
it's hard to draw that line, what's
Yeah,
safe and what's not, because
yeah,
we're all different.
yeah.
Well, Wendy, what I do with
Right.
everybody, I shut up and I let my guests have the last say on the show. Is there anything you'd like to say to Australia, to the world, to Greg Harrison, maybe, Tom Havlin, Richard Hirschman, John
Oh,
Looney, one of my big buddies in the UK? I'll leave
yes.
the
Yeah,
floor
oh,
to
he's
you.
he's amazing. Well, I'll go to Martin Luther King Jr. From here. Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. So I can't think of anything better than that. So
That is beautiful. That is true. By remaining silent, we're
yes,
agreeing with it. We're accepting it.
yes, yes.
Beautiful, Wendy. Thank you for joining us
Thank
this
you,
morning,
Tony.
this evening.
Thank you.
A pleasure meeting you.
Cheers. Thank you. And you.
All the best. Thank you. Bye for
Bye.
now.